In light of this evidence and the witness's testimony, I motion that the court formally recognise that Dr. Ash's cause of death was cinnatonin poisoning. I don't object, Your Honour. But I'm afraid that I must. Excuse me? Cinnatonin may very well have been in his body when he died, but cinnatonin didn't kill Dr. Asher. What? The hell is she up to? It couldn't have. It couldn't kill anybody. What? Because it's non-toxic, of course. We designed it to affect androids, not people. Hold on, you're now claiming that Dr. Asher died of what? Natural causes? I can't say what he died of, I'm not a medical expert. But I can easily prove that cinnatonin is harmless. How could you... Ha! Yeah. Like so. Huh. Didn't see that one coming. Okay. I have good news. We are back on track for the salt. If she didn't poison the whiskey, which it implies she didn't because nothing was found in the whiskey, and they would have found the cinnatonin somewhere in the bottle, I reckon that cinnatonin reacts with certain other compounds in order to become toxic. Like maybe salt, or salt and alcohol. What? What? That ain't good. But bailiff, contact the hospital immediately. I told you, it's fine. But... I can stand here all day if necessary. What in the... And what you just drank was several hundred times the amount found in Dr. Asher's body. Why didn't you say anything until now? Noble Electronics is a multinational corporation with patents filed all over the world. We take the protection of our trade secrets very seriously. The production and nature of cinnatonin is closely guarded. That guard remains up even during a murder investigation. I mean, you totally could have said it is non-toxic, and that would in no way harm your situation. If anything, it would improve your social standing. Your PR to go, yes, this thing that we have in androids is non-toxic. How could that hurt you? I would have been able to tell you earlier had you asked directly. What the hell kind of... This can't be right. Nothing else makes sense. Boy howdy, I'm lost as hell. But do you have any further questions, Rocky Ford? Not at the moment, Your Honour. It's interesting to see Emma thrown off. I think this is an important moment because it shows she isn't infallible. And maybe, we've got one over on her a couple of times. You know, that's just the ebb and flow of the game. But this is something that completely blindsided her, which is really interesting to see. And the defence. The prosecution's own witness just threw the entire case into question. Alright, a question is, if Young did this, why would she... I suppose it gets rid of the murder weapon. The murder weapon that she technically had access to, so yeah, fair enough. Normally this would be cause for celebration, but shadow of a doubt isn't enough this time. Barrows would much rather bring down the gavel early than let a potential AI walk free. What Young did was shocking, but what I need to do hasn't changed. Think this through, logically. Is it really possible that cinnatonin had nothing to do with David's death? No, that's bullshit. It can't be a coincidence, there's nothing else that would have killed him. But Young just drank cinnatonin in front of us and she's fine, so was it fake? No, it was confirmed by the court computer to be the genuine article. So she drank poison but isn't showing any symptoms. Is it slow acting? If so, her grand gesture would be pointless. She'll be kept for observation regardless of what happens next. Did she take some kind of antidote beforehand, like salt? Oh, yeah, maybe it's the opposite of the thing I was saying. I know I'm flip-flopping around, but I know the salt is involved. I suspect the whiskey's involved, and there's cinnatonin. I've got all the pieces, I just can't quite work out how they fit together. But yes, I didn't think of an antidote. I just assumed she threw it up, but even that didn't really make sense. So an antidote makes more sense. A high salt content would help. No, antidotes are developed for poisons, not industrial chemicals. David's dead, she's alive. What made the difference? Wake up, no sleeping on the job. Unless you're me. Of course, Your Honour. Allow me one moment to explain things to the court. We've confirmed just now that serotonin was the foreign compound in his body. And we all know logically that it must have been what killed David Asher. So what's the key difference between what David drank that night and what she drank in front of us just now? I am waiting for the chromofuge to come in, so it's interesting that that's popped up. Oh, the water glass. Alright, it can't be the whiskey because they both... There's no difference there. Oh! No. It's going back to the what if the whiskey's a trigger. A vial of serotonin, a caramel-coloured chemical solution. The fact that it's caramel-coloured is interesting. Blends in with whiskey. The chromofuge removes byproducts, impurities, and pigments from android blood. So maybe serotonin itself isn't poisonous, but a purified version is. That could make sense. And removes impurities, pigment, turns red blood pink. So I reckon... Sorry, I keep flitting between so many different theories. Like, I see all the pieces, I just can't work out how they fit together. But I've been circling this for hours. I reckon it's the chromofuge. The water glass is questionable. With Young's fingerprints. Let me read the log again. What's the difference between what David drank that night and what she drank in front of us? It's got to be the chromofuge. The stuff... Like, it's either the water glass or the chromofuge. It's not that one. That doesn't have any bearing on what she drank. The whiskey, we know that they both drank and was negative for poison. That was also not poisoned. And the chromofuge, it's... I feel like it's the chromofuge, but I also want to talk about the glass. I don't think it's the glass, though. Because Morgan said that she would be watched, so she can't take an antidote or anything afterwards. So if like the salt or the water is an antidote, that will be discovered in time. But so it would have to be something done before the consumption of the serotonin, and the only possible thing is the chromofuge. So I'm going all in. The witness must have tampered with the sample using Noble's machinery. That vial was inert by the time she drank. No, it's the other way round. Oh, Morgan, what are you doing? You must have serious trust issues or a hearing problem. The adjutant confirmed the contents are chemically identical. Fuck sake. Oh, sorry. Mass Effect dialogue problem. When I say chromofuge, I was thinking that what David drank was... Oh, no, but she did say it was chemically identical. No, but the actual serotonin was. Oh, fuck. Right. Yeah. If anything, it's grinding in my teeth. Shit. It's got to be the glass then. That's the only other fucking thing it can be. Oh, that's so annoying. Oh, I thought I had something there. It's got to be the water glass. What is that? Water? The universal solvent and the key to this case. Serotonin is only deadly when it comes into contact with water. Contact with water. Like in the mouth? Oh, for fuck's... Why? How was I supposed to predict that is what Morgan would base her case on? Because with the reason I put the water glass was I was thinking, oh, if you drink water afterwards, it nullifies the effect. Not... Or the salt, you know? Not, oh, it becomes poisonous with water. That's the fucking opposite of what I was trying to put... Oh, sorry, I'm getting really worked up. This is easily the weakest part of the game. And, like, someone commented after the last one of these I went through, and they were like, you're thinking about it wrong, you're thinking about it like a detective, not like a lawyer. But, like with these two things, I've got, both the chromofuge and the water glass, I've gone, I know, and then the point Morgan has made is literally the opposite of the one that I had in mind. And there is no way for me to know what point she is going to make when I just have the evidence name as the prompt. Bloody Mass Effect dialogue. Fuck. Something less commonplace. Okay, so it was the fucking whiskey. And the thing that I've been saying since the beginning, that the whiskey was the trigger. God damn. The difference has been staring us in the face this whole time. That's... Do you recognise this, Miss Young? Oh, I'm so annoyed, because I've been saying that for fucking ages, but I thought, oh no, it's leaning away from that. It must be the chromofuge or the what she did afterwards. Oh. And just to back myself up on the chromofuge thing, they're like, oh, it's identical chemically. No, we just know that both chemicals were present. And they are the same chemical, but it doesn't say dosage. Oh, no, because she drank a much higher dose. Yeah, maybe. The point is, if they removed the impurities, that might have counterbalanced something, and the impurities being biological in nature wouldn't show up in the human body, so you wouldn't be able to tell if the one that he drank had the impurities or not. Was my point, because it was biological, they're invisible. Do you recognise this, Miss Young? That's the whiskey bottle that Dr. Asher and I drank from. Rose River, it's good whiskey. And I think you had the right idea. Pardon. Bottoms up. Smooth. What? Adone. Dear God, Counselor. Scandalous. Relax, it's just whiskey. Tested a dozen times over. Perfectly safe. So would you like to try some, Miss Young? Don't be absurd. I'm not going to drink on the witness stand. Have you lost your mind? I'm not asking you to get plastered. Just have a sip. After all, if we want to prove whether or not Cinetonin killed Dr. Asher, we'd have to recreate the conditions under which he ingested it. By mixing it with alcohol. Okay. I'm annoyed that it took me 3 tries to go with the thing that I have been saying for ages. Go ahead then. Just a taste. Prove to us that Cinetonin is perfectly safe for human consumption. Can she do this? Miss Young? I never said it was safe for human consumption, just that it's non-toxic. A distinction without a difference. You saw firsthand Dr. Asher confused, slurring his speech, complaining of a headache, all symptoms of poisoning. Alcohol poisoning, that is. Cinetonin is a neurotransmitter analog. Maybe it doesn't do anything in the human body on its own, but in combination with alcohol, it acts as a powerful depressant. One strong enough to turn a glass or two of whiskey into a lethal overdose. That's just... Even if that's the case, what does it change? It changes whether or not we could accept the witness's testimony. Even if this witness is a liar, what does that change? Why would the witness lie if not to... She's a corporate climber. Imagine it's like breathing for her. Fucking savage. Your Honor, this is wild, but ultimately irrelevant. Irrelevant? When you're yet to establish an alternate interpretation of the facts, yes. What are you even accusing the witness of doing, Counselor, beyond angling for a promotion? We've all seen the story by now. Noble android saves soldier's life with warm blood transfusion. They're talking about putting warm androids in the military just because of that headline. And the size of their flesh and blood price tag, a defense contract like that would secure Noble untold profit for years. So I imagine the lengths they go to hide that their androids have poison in their veins. Dawes told me the truth about what Noble really thinks of that article, but he never testified to it. At least, I know for sure Emma's wrong about this poison blood nonsense. And you think she'd perjure herself for that? She's a high-powered corporate executive. It's her job to assess risk versus reward. And she can afford the fine. As I said, it's not truly poisonous. And the chances of cross-contamination from a simple plasma infusion are... Damn, now she's regaining her posture too. Ahem. A perjury charge is a real risk, of course, but Noble rewards loyalty. And as you know, they have a great number of lawyers. Plenty of motive to lie about Stinatonin, as you can see. But no motive for her to cover up the death of Noble Electronics' golden goose. No motive to kill David Asher, you say? Well, that is not the case. Brown, don't drink it. The game does this, and it's like, I know that she has motive to kill him. Which of these bloody proves that? The contract? Yeah, it's got to be the contract. Because the contract says if he leaves alive, he retains the rights. So I'm going all in on this one. There's plenty of motivation for her and Noble to want David dead, seeing as how they were firing him. Noble Electronics was kicking their golden goose out of the nest, suing him over breach of contract. Isn't that right? I don't have to talk about that. That's alright, I'll talk about it for you. Your Honor, counsel is trying to testify when they're supposed to be questioning. The people opened the door when they claimed that the witness had no motive. This is absurd. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sure I can speak for the whole court when I say we feel nothing but reverent awe for the complexity of Noble's legal woes. But I just so happen to have an inkling of insight into this issue, because I have here a copy of Dr. Asher's employment contract. If that is confidential, it's completely improper for you. Why? I'm still technically his attorney. Criminal attorney. But I didn't just stumble across this document. I also did the one thing Noble Electronics would never expect anyone to do. I read their terms and conditions. You what? That's impossible. No one could ever. David must have negotiated well at his last performance review. This contract allows him to take his patents with him should he get fired. Meaning Noble couldn't monopolize his IP once he was out. Rather than let their competitors have him, the company might have thought it best to... A company didn't poison David Asher, Counselor. An individual did. And if they cared that much about controlling his intellectual property, they wouldn't fire him in the first place. Correct. They wouldn't let him go for anything less than a complete breakdown of trust. He'd have to have done something grave, something like, say, committing fraud. Just now, you said there was a breach of contract, like it was some sort of technicality that was causing this split. But it was much more serious than that, wasn't it? You're claiming the victim committed corporate fraud? Where's the evidence of that? David created the Turing solution that every one of their androids has run to this day, and Noble reaped enormous benefits capitalizing on this intellectual property. With how his contract was set up, they would never let him go unless they absolutely had to. Then what exactly do you think David Asher did? It's not what I think that matters, only what the company fears. Right, they didn't know about Sarah. I am certain that they didn't know about Sarah. I'm all but certain there's no reason to bring that in because it's saying that he made an AI, but oh, by the way, Sarah isn't one. The manufacturer... It's got to be the shipping data. Shows signs of a cover-up. Yeah. Sarah and Tenets, they are both red herrings that hurt my case, but the shipping data... I'm desperate to earn some of my bloody money back. It doesn't matter what I believe, not when Noble believed that David was misleading the shareholders by altering shipping data for the Animate 16. What the hell? What is this you're uploading? Shipping records? Irregularities among shipments of the Animate 16. One android swapped for another, over and over, dozens of times. The kind of thing someone with Dr. Asher's authority could do, and the kind of thing someone as smart as you couldn't have missed. Dr. Asher made Noble an untold amount of money, so why fire him over a few harmless swaps? Why elevate this to fraud? You have evidence that it was David Asher who did this? Nope, but I wasn't the one who investigated it. So let's ask her. Come on now, let's hear it. Let's. The company investigated and found cause for serious concern. We suspected that Dr. Asher was inserting androids of unknown origin and quality into the 16th production line. Huh. Was he seeding AIs? I can't imagine why he would. Like, he knows it would be suicide. Interesting. Introducing unpredictable elements into an extremely stable and profitable generation of androids. Why would he do that? For pride? As a practical joke? Does it really matter? He endangered the future of the company. So you're prepared to fire him. And we're just moving on. If he did do it, and there isn't really... Is there evidence for it? I mean, the fact that they were firing him implied there was. Was he seeding AI? He made over 300 of them. I don't know why he would. I don't know why he would. So you prepared to fire him? Yes, I approached him as his superior and as someone who he'd once worked with. I hope to remedy the situation. Was the meeting on Friday part of those efforts? It was the culmination of those efforts. And in many ways it was a success. The dispute was resolved swiftly. It was practically friendly compared to how these discussions normally go in our world. So you brokered the meeting? Yes. You oversaw its every detail, handled all the arrangements? Yes, of course. Including the refreshments? Oh, I thought that was a red herring. What? Did you provide coffee? Tea? No. Strange, it must have been a long meeting. Surely you at least provided... jelly donuts! Coffee. It's got to be the coffee because it's caramel. So we know it wasn't inhaled. Well, no, we don't know it wasn't inhaled. We don't know it wasn't inhaled. We don't know it wasn't inhaled. What does she just say? Did you provide coffee? No, so it's not coffee. Jelly donuts is just out of nowhere. It's got to be the inhalers. Because it's a caramel-coloured substance. I'm going to go with inhalers, but I'm not certain. Inhalers for all your co-workers, yes? What? You mean like a Droxone? Don't be absurd. I'd be overstepping HR if I tried to pull that. Oh, fuck. Sake! 14? Are you kidding me? That's so punishing. Oh, goddamn. I thought, well, it can't be the water because it's specified as a caramel-coloured thing. But if that's the case, you must have at least provided them with water. Water? Surely you at least provided water for people. What are you asking, counsellor? God, that's really pissed me off. That's what I want to know. Me as well. We're past the point of asking. I'm accusing. Dr. Asher didn't have some kind of freak medical accident and he wasn't killed by some terrifying two-faced AI boogeyman. He was poisoned by this woman in the light of day at that meeting Friday afternoon. Did she really just... What do you mean poisoned at the meeting? That was hours before he showed any symptoms. As Miss Young testified and demonstrated, serotonin on itself is harmless. But it became fatal pretty easily. You just need to convince your victim to have a drink. You're saying he ingested the poison at noon and inadvertently triggered a fatal reaction with it that night? God, this is what I said ages ago. I thought it was the salt. How could you get so far ahead of yourself? There were a dozen people at that meeting, counsellor, and none of them wound up dead. Are you seriously claiming they all drank poisoned water? I don't think it's in the water because it's a caramel-coloured frickin' substance. You would see it, and the salt still hasn't come in. I don't know, she's shown holding a glass in the arbitration image. And there... I mean... Again, like, there are things that are missing here, like... Yeah, not all of them drank poison. Because she could very easily just poison the bottle of water that she puts in front of where David would sit. You know, they're not gonna... It's a big table. They're not gonna... It's not gonna be like a sharing jug. It's gonna be like individual bottles or individual pitchers or whatever. Not all of them drank poison. David was the only one to fall ill, so... but he fell ill because he drank from that water. Others must have drunk it too, so it must reason that they were poisoned as well. Oh, fuck's sake. This is really frustrating. I really feel like sorry, I'm complaining about this again. I really feel like it's not providing me the information I need to find these answers, to come to these conclusions. Take all the time you need getting there. So why aren't they all dead? Because as all of those people will surely attest, Helen Young made sure they were doing paperwork for the next 12 hours. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was told that. Working late into the night, officiating the settlement she arranged, and not drinking alcohol. She had no guarantee about that. What if they started drinking after 6? With Noble's work-life harmony? Fat chance. These people don't clock out until they've reached their bunk. Only a generational talent like David Asher could afford to relax with a drink on a Friday night. His exceptionalism singled him out as her only victim. Hold it, she's going to say, but Young also drank from it. You're forgetting something pretty basic, Counselor. If everyone at the meeting drank water from the same pitcher, which is insanity in its own right, any one of them would have noticed there was cinnatonin in it. Okay, and now we have the chromofuge, which gets rid of the colour. Oh, I knew that was going to be fucking relevant. Cinnatonin is a brown fluid. Whiskey is too, so it might have been easy to slip it into a glass of liquor. But if she'd spiked the water at the meeting with it, it would have looked disgusting. There's no way she could have poisoned the water without people noticing. All of what Emma said is true. And yet Young pulled it off anyway. How? Chromofuge. What's blood article? Oh. Chromofuge. Pigment. Removes pigment. Yeah, this one. I'm down so low. I've been on 96 almost this entire trial. Because every time I get a single victory, I've already had 1 or 2 losses before then. But yeah, it's definitely the chromofuge. Cinnatonin is produced as a caramel solution. Anyone would notice if it was dropped into their water, unless the pigment had been removed. What the hell are you talking about? Every Noble factory producing warm androids has a chromofuge, a machine that gives their androids that signature pink oxidant by removing pigment from red blood. With a machine like that, it would be simple for a brilliant biochemist like the Witness to take the caramel-coloured cinnatonin and turn it into an odourless, tasteless, invisible poison. As your honour can attest. Yes, ma'am. My scan confirmed that cinnatonin has no taste or odour, it's only the colour that's off-putting. Surely the poisonous aspect could be considered off-putting as well. Time to press. David Asher, your oldest ally in the whole company, was sabotaging its future for the sake of his own whimsy. And he couldn't even be bothered to clue you in. No. Playing nutty professor and taking off early while you had to work around the clock just to stay relevant. He set up your crowning achievement, the most advanced, most profitable line of androids in the country has ever seen, so it would blow up in the industry fiasco of the decade. And worst of all, he didn't even stand to profit from it. Sorry, I think I misread that. No, I just didn't understand. I don't know what she means by that. You're wrong. You went to his house that night to watch him swallow poison. To get revenge on the man who left you in the dust. Your Honour, defense is testifying. This speculation carries no weight, and no amount of badgering will lend it any. True, we need proof. So why don't we have Miss Young take a swig from this whiskey and prove me wrong? Ha! I'm not going to do that. Because you're afraid it could kill you? Because I don't have to. She's right, Counselor. Pardon? Your theory is compelling, maybe even convincing. But there's a pretty fatal flaw to it. Young was at that meeting, same as David. Now the salt comes in. We could see she was drinking water with the rest of them. And of course, we've seen many times now that she was on camera drinking whiskey with David that night, having even finished most of her cup. So tell us, counsellor, how is it that Miss Young is still standing here and David Asher is dead? If both of them mixed alcohol with serotonin that night? That is a damn good question. Shit. As I've been saying, you're wrong about Dr. Asher's death. You're wrong about me. I don't know anything about poison or murder, and I wouldn't kill a man because he threatened the company's stock price. No, she did kill him. I can smell it on her now. Something I've been saying since I first met her. She didn't just see him die, she watched him die. But then why is she still standing? There's no antidote, no trick. And that night she was on camera the entire time, except when she went into the kitchen, drank water and used salt. No, not the entire time. She couldn't have been. There must have been one moment. Drinking, David faints. So talking, drinking, David faints. To hospital. This timeline leaves no window of opportunity, damn it. Maybe she wouldn't get sick because they got to the hospital too fast. Maybe after she arrived she could have... No, the staff would have been hyper-vigilant, afraid she was poisoned too. They wouldn't have let her out of their sight. Wait, David and Young only got there so fast because of the VTOL. Now, the VTOL was only summoned because she used... Would you mind terribly if I changed the subject for just a moment? See, this is them setting up a gotcha moment, and again, not letting the player in on it. It just so happens that I've already worked this one out. What? Well, why not? You left the parlour at 8:03 and headed into the kitchen to use the emergency console there. Yes, I did. Didn't want to use your phone? I didn't think to, no. And the emergency call went out at 8:04. The console saw you make the call through its camera. Yes, it did make the call because that's what happened. Ah, is the call going to show the glass on the counter, and then by the time the police arrive, it's in the sink? So what were you doing in that minute? What? That 1 minute? That 1 minute? What about that 1 minute? 1 minute, or 50 seconds, or just 45 seconds. When you left Dr. Asher dying in the parlour to get to the emergency console, it took you about 1 minute to cross 5 meters. What of it? This is it, her only opportunity to do anything off camera that night. It was only a few seconds, but in that time, with something at the scene, she... I'm sure it was a stressful time for you. After all, you'd already swallowed poison back at the meeting. You must have drunk plenty of it in front of everyone to set up your alibi. Who knows how much of a toxic time bomb was swimming in your blood by the time the arbitration ended? Then at David's, you downed your whiskey to perfect your alibi, having drank from the same bottle as the dead man walking. By 8:03, you'd already had to watch David grow weaker and weaker, knowing all the while the same thing was happening to you, but unable to stop it without giving yourself away. Mind swimming, head dizzy, yes, you must have been quite panicked. Then why am I standing here? Alive and well for all of us to see. Having drunk the exact same combination as David. Because she cheated death at the very last second. With... the salt shaker. It's got to be the salt. It's got to be the salt. It has to be the salt. You set yourself up with bad luck, Helen Young. What? By leaving the salt shaker cap loose. I don't blame you, since you were in a rush to make yourself vomit. Okay, well, I did call that. I didn't call why. I feel I got all the pieces of this, and on the route there, it kept screwing me over. Like, I was slightly wrong. I thought the poison was in the salt for most of this. I always called that the alcohol was the catalyst. But, yeah, I did call late on that the salt was to make her throw up. But yeah, I feel I struggled way too hard with reaching this conclusion. What? You threw up, expelling the contents of your stomach and thereby saving yourself from a fatal interaction. I can't imagine how you felt sipping a drink you knew to be deadly, terrified that every minuscule grain of fatigue you felt could be your last. You must have come closer than anyone realized. It helped that you knew the symptoms weren't simple intoxication, but even so, you weren't kidding about managing risk versus reward. How? It was the salt shaker. You didn't screw the cap on all the way, and I happened to bump it over. The lone glass with your fingerprints in the sink, it could have been there for any reason. But the salt shaker gave you away. Because of one unscrewed cap? As I said, bad luck. I don't follow. Pour salt into warm water and chug the solution instantly triggers the gag reflex. Kind of weird that she would just know that off the top of her head. That's preposterous. You've got no proof of any of that. You all sound insane. A feeble attempt at self-defense from a fatally cornered animal. The teeth are already on its neck, but the jaw hasn't quite closed. So for one moment it's all suffocating terror and sharp adrenaline, the furthest thing from peace. Until the canines come down. In summary, you're exhausted after years of living in the shadow of a man you outranked. You thought your fortunes finally shifted when you caught David manipulating company data. But even on his way out, he was more valuable to the board than you. So you decided to prove your worth by serving up his intellectual property on a silver platter. You set up an arbitration where you could control all the variables. Then you ran Cinetonin through the chromofuge, turning it into an invisible, odorless, tasteless poison. And then you spiked the water at the meeting, poisoning him hours before anyone could even suspect you. That evening you invited yourself to David's, taking advantage of your shared ritual to guarantee he would drink alcohol. Then after matching him sip for sip on camera, for all the world to see, he lost consciousness and you raced to the kitchen not to use the console, but to dump salt into a glass of water and chug it as fast as you could, forcing yourself to vomit up the liquor and cheating death in the process. That's all conjecture. You don't have a shred of evidence for any of that. Not on me. So let's go dust for fingerprints. You could explain away your prints being found on a water glass, but not on the salt shaker. Nor could you explain why we'd find traces of your DNA in the sink's drain. Or why there are minute amounts of Cinetonin in the blood of your entire legal team. I learned how to purge at Noble to avoid overdosing on your greens, reds, and yellows. You're part of the old guard now, Miss Young. Everyone else at the company uses inhalers. Oh, so that was relevant. But if you want to prove me wrong about all this, that drink I offered you earlier is still on the table. Well. Oh, you... Any questions? You... Madam Vice President? You... What the hell? Cold... bitch. You don't understand. You're not on trial, Miss Young. Not today, so I'd strongly suggest that you stop talking. For your own sake. Miss Rockford, shall we? Yes, Your Honor. Considering the most recent evidence and testimony, we have no further reason to suspect the android Sarah in the death of Dr. Asher. We know of no other occasions upon which said android may have broken any tenets. Which means it's no longer considered a risk of violating the NDSA. And so we formally withdraw our one charge of possession of contraband against the defendant, Evangeline Morgan. Does she, of all people, have to use my full name? Very well, then the charges are dropped without prejudice. I'll instruct the bailiffs to remove the collar from your android as soon as possible. Case... Sorry, is my hideous presence that distracting? I'll just go dig a hole and decompose in it until I turn into a mushroom. Maybe if I'm reborn as a waxy porcini, then I won't be quite so despised. Perhaps I should let the adjutant do the honours, as a formality. Yes, ma'am. Case dismissed.